Alright, so today we're going to be working on the 2017 Beta Cross Trainer. Had some concern about a possible gasket leak at the water pump, and I confirmed it. I do have a slight leak, but every time I go out and ride, come home, wash the bike, get it all cleaned up, I noticed there was some grease and some concentrated dirt areas around the water pump. So today I'm going to tear it down and take a look and see what's going on there. So, right underneath the water pump there is some grease and grime, and it's concentrated right below the water pump, above the power valve screw, and along the clutch cover here. My concern is that the clutch cover may have been leaking, but I don't think that's the case. It really is concentrated right around the water pump. So I'm going to go ahead and, let's see if I can get a better shot of this. I'm going to go ahead and tear this down. So I'm going to drain the coolant, pull that water pump cover off, look at the O-ring, and then I'll go ahead and pull the water pump off itself. Alright, I've got my bucket here. I'm going to start draining the coolant out now. 8mm socket's what it's going to take. And by the way, I did open the radiator cap just so that gravity will help push this out. Nice and clean from last time. I had just replaced this not too long ago. Nice and clean. I like the color of that. I'm just going to help it along here. Get as much out as I can. Don't make a huge mess when I crack that open. And by the way, this bike is so light. Okay, so this bike is actually 98.8 kilograms, which is about 218 pounds. Love this bike. It's super flickable, it's easy to maneuver, and all right, let's get back to the video. Here we go. Okay, so I do recommend taking the muffler off and then the header pipe, which will give you better access to the water pump. So in this case, you've got a bolt here that holds the plastic in, and there's two bolts, one here and then one behind here to remove the exhaust for the muffler. Alright, muffler off, and then now to remove the header pipe. So there's one bolt here securing the header pipe to the frame, and then there's one bolt here, and then there are the two springs, one here and then one on the other side. So I'll get that removed and we'll move forward. Now that the header pipe's off, I can see all around the water pump, kind of looking around and just kind of seeing what's going on here. It's a much better view, so definitely recommend taking off the header pipe. Now, I'm going to remove the hose and then hopefully get this pulled off. And this is a section where it was giving me a little bit of trouble. When I had the header pipe on, I couldn't see that the water pipe or the water pump extends into the case there. So this is what was holding me up. So having pulled the header pipe off, it's just giving me better access and visualization. So okay, I have got the water pump cover gasket now that I'm pulling off. Just pull this out of the hose. And this was leaking before, so I used silicone. I won't use it this time. It's just more work to clean it up if you have to replace it, but supposedly it's supposed to seal itself with just the O-ring. So I'll put that aside there. So now we just need to remove the propeller bolt here, and then we can pull the water pump out and then get to that gasket that's behind it. All right, that propeller bolt is an 8mm. And then once you pull that off, you can just guide this out. There's an O-ring here as well that I'm going to replace. And yeah, made in Italy. There it is. The water pump's removed. I will now get this thing cleaned up and start putting this thing back together. All right, got the water pump cover all cleaned up. Got the water pump itself all cleaned up. The surface is ready to meet its gasket. And I did notice on the old gasket there was some form of adhesive, so I'm going to go ahead and just use a very, very thin line of ultra black gasket maker. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But on the O-ring side, I'm going to leave the gasket maker out. I'm just going to do it on both surfaces of this for both the engine half and the water pump itself. So everything looks good, spins freely. The impeller looks good. It's nice and clean, still in really good condition. So I'll put this back together. All right, water pump is back on. Radiator hose is on, the drain plug is on. Like I said earlier, I used a very thin layer of black RTV to put the paper gasket on. I didn't use any for the O-ring. So now all that's left to do is put the header pipe back on, put the muffler back on, and then fill it up with coolant. One thing to note is to make sure you clean out the inside there, and while you're here, check to see what the scarring might be of your piston. And this is what my piston looks like. Look, but then get this surface cleaned out and put some red RTV on there, as well as the mating surface for the header pipe, and put new O-rings in, and then put some more red RTV right there where the header pipe and the exhaust come together. Then you won't have any exhaust leaks. And next video I should start it up. All right, header pipe's back on, exhaust is on, springs are on. I used red RTV high temp there at the header pipe engine junction. I filled the radiators with engine ice. It's the blue coolant. Not that it gets super hot here in Utah, but I just thought, what the heck, I'll use it. It's a good clean motorbike coolant. So when you're filling it up, make sure you open up the bleeder screw here, pour the coolant in, start the bike up, let it run for a minute, and then keep adding coolant until it overflows from the bleeder screw, then tighten it down, and then you should be topped off and ready to go. I did run the bike today, did some wheelies and some other things, and I don't have any drips anywhere, so leaks are gone. And thanks for watching. If you liked it, if you thought it was informative, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Have a great one.